Hi, I'm Corey from nyfirearms.com. My screen name is Corman257, and I told a few of you guys that I was going to do a review on two different hybrid holsters, the Galco Kingtuk and the SHTFgear Ace 1. I said I was going to do this quite a while ago on just the Galco Kingtuk, and I wound up not doing that because I got rid of the firearm that it was for, and I bought a different firearm and used a different holster for it. So I decided that I would do a review of both holsters and kind of a compare and contrast to give you an idea of some of the differences between them. This is the Galco Kingtuk holster, and this is the SHTFgear Ace 1 holster. The Galco is for a SIG P220, and the SHTFgear is for a Glock 17. So to start off, hybrid holsters are mostly copies of a crossbreed holster. Crossbreed kind of came out with the design, I think, but if you're watching this video, you probably already know a bit about this type of holster, so I'm just going to breeze over it quick. They're a leather backing holster that goes against your skin, and it has a Kydex mold that holds your weapon to the leather inside of your waistband, and these clips just go over your belt and they hold it securely in place on your side. They're good holsters. They hide extremely well because they're so flat, and they curve very, very well to your body. So that's basically the holster design. Now this specific holster is the Galco Kingtuk, and I bought mine for $50 on Palmetto State Armory website. It was a while ago. I carried a full-sized SIG in this holster. I'm 6 foot tall, 160 to 165 pounds, and I had no trouble concealing this wearing what I'm wearing right now, jeans and a t-shirt. It works pretty well. Nobody was any wiser, and I think it hides extremely well. The things I liked about the Galco when I first got it is that the clips don't have crosses on them. I looked at a crossbreed and I thought seriously about buying one, but I don't want to announce to everyone that I'm concealed carrying. And the crossbreeds all have these little crosses on the clips, which just seem so obvious to me. Maybe it's not that big a deal, but I just felt like that's something I didn't want. I liked that the weight was very spread out. SIG 220 is a heavy gun. It's not light. And with this holster, I could wear it all day long, and I didn't have any issue with that. Now, different people like to carry different sized guns. I'm not the type of person who wants to carry a small gun and hope it works out well when I need it. I want to carry a gun I shoot well, and then I'll worry about hiding it. I feel shooting the firearm good is more important than concealing it well. I conceal fine with these holsters, but I don't put that above shootability. Another thing I liked about it is that this will hold multiple guns. Not at once, but I could put a SIG 220 in here. If I ever get a 226, 228, 229, any of those, with or without rail, they would all fit in this holster. And that's awesome because I don't want to have to buy another holster if I choose to buy a SIG. It tucks. That's the Kingtuk. It's a huge feature of this style of holster. You just put your shirt in behind these clips and between the Kydex and your pants, and you're all set. Drive on. It's just a good holster, but it has some downfalls. Without the firearm that it's made for, it's going to be hard to explain some of those to you. The first one was that the extractor on a SIG, this is my Glock 17, but the extractor on a SIG doubles as a loaded chamber indicator. Now when I would go to holster my SIG, obviously this isn't a SIG, but sometimes that extractor would catch on the Kydex and it would just snag up. Now it only did that when the firearm was loaded because that's the only time the indicator was up. But I felt like that was a real pain in the ass, and it wasn't exactly something I felt like I should deal with. Another thing I didn't care for so much was the smooth leather. My Hanes Comfort Soft against this, loosey-goosey. It would slide a little bit. It wasn't the end of the world because I could just tighten up my belt. There's no stitching around the edge of this holster. Now, if you go and you look at the Kingtuk for almost any firearm online, you're going to see nice models with stitching around the edge. That doesn't come on the holster you buy. The holster you buy is just cut leather. It's 2 layers of leather that have been glued together so that you have a black front and a tan or cowhide back. Now that's fine, well and dandy, except for the fact that this can over time start to wear apart if it's not stitched, which I felt was something that they should have been there, especially if I saw it on all the photos I was looking at. So there's that. And the biggest downfall to this holster, I didn't really realize until I got rid of it, and that was that Galco uses 2 set screws to each spring steel clip. That should sound like a good thing. Wow, those aren't moving. Great. It's going to be secure. Awesome. But the downfall to having 2 set screws is that your arms can't pivot. Your clip arms are solid. There's no play there. You cannot pivot one way or the other. And I feel like that's something that could seriously benefit a Galco holster. Now, if I wanted to, I could remove one of the set screws on each clip and run it that way. But I feel like if the holster wasn't made for it, why would I do that? It seems foolish. At any rate, so that's the Galco. Good holster, don't count it out. But the holster that I use now, I feel is a better holster. And I'll tell you why. This is the Shit Hit the Fan Gear Ace 1 holster for the Glock 17. This cost me $59.95. I get a military discount, so it was a little less for me. They do those for those of you that are, I think, NRA members, law enforcement, and military all get like a 10%, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head. But this has all the same pros as the Galco, all the same positive things, and more. It fixes some of the issues that the Galco has. This holster, the extractor on my Glock, whether loaded, unloaded, whatever, does not catch at all. I've got a smooth reholster every time. Now, the other thing, the thing that I like most, that I feel is the biggest improvement for this holster, is that my clip arms can pivot. It doesn't sound like that big a deal, but you really want those arms to be able to pivot, because when you're wearing the holster, just moving them out a little bit can change the way the weight carries, or it might be able to help you change your cant some. Now, the cant on all hybrid holsters is to some degree adjustable, because you can adjust what your ride height is of the clip itself, and that will change to some degree the cant. The Galco is no different. If you want to, you can pull out these clip arm screws and readjust them into a new place and screw them in, and that will adjust how your ride height and cant are. That's something I did with both of these holsters. This holster has another feature that I feel is the most important. When I go to practice my draw at home, I draw and I reholster. It sounds ridiculous, but when I would go to reholster with this Galco, my pants would be outside the holster and they would just slightly cover the front of the holster, no matter how I adjusted it. If I had any forward cant at all, my pants would cover. And every time I would go to reholster, my gun would snag on those pants. That's a pain in the ass. If you're going to be using an inside the waistband holster for any kind of class, or just practicing your draw at home, or maybe doing a lot of range practice with draws, that is an extremely big problem. I don't want to use 2 hands to reholster. Now granted, I didn't always have to, but if that just 1/16 of an inch of denim was over there, it caused a pain in the ass. I hated it. Because these spring steel clips can adjust on the shit hit the fan gear, that never happens. I have perfect pant ride height. You know, the Kydex is just a little bit above it. Worked awesome. This also has a slightly rougher back than the Galco, so I didn't get that slippage against my underwear that, you know, I'm talking about underwear, jeez, that I sometimes had with the Galco. Now, neither one of these is something you're not going to draw your holster. That will never happen with the hybrid holster. If it does, you need to buy a different belt. But the shit hit the fan gear just has such a better product. There's Kevlar stitching that they seem to try to sell really heavy. Ooh, Kevlar stitching, that really says quality. I think the Kevlar stitching is a gimmick. The Kydex mold is on the leather, and it's not on there any better or any worse than the Galco. It's just there. Both of these have something that you have to pay extra for if you were to buy a crossbreed. The combat cut. If I holster a firearm and I put it on, my fingers can naturally get my full firing grip when I go to draw, regardless of which holster you're talking about, whether it's my Galco or whether it's my shit hit the fan gear. They both allow me that, which is something that I think is important. If you don't like that, then maybe these aren't the holsters for you. This does have a couple of downfalls, the shit hit the fan gear. And I'm not sure if this first downfall is something that's gun specific, because it very well could be. This holster fits my waist so well that my gun is held so tight against me. With this Gen 4 Glock, it's got a grippy surface, and your side can start to feel that. You're going to feel like you've got sandpaper rubbing against you all day. As a result, I've had to start wearing undershirts. Just bought a package of wife beaters, and I started wearing them. And that stopped any of that rub that I didn't care for. But that's something to think about. If you're going to carry a firearm that's got a real grip to it, you know, you 1911 guys, if you're trying to use one of these and you've got like the crazy million lines per inch checkering on your grips or your mainspring housing, that could be something to think about. Overall, I like both holsters, but I definitely like the shit hit the fan gear more. My next firearm will probably be riding in a shit hit the fan gear holster. The shit hit the fan gear is not quite as wide as the Galco. If you line up the clips front and back, the Galco is considerably longer. You can't see the shit hit the fan gear at all there. But if I turn this around, you should be able to see the Galco out the side. It's a little bit longer, so it carries the weight a little different. But I went from carrying an anvil in my waist with the SIG to carrying a squirt gun in my waist with the Glock. So while this one holds the weight better, I haven't thrown a heavy gun in here. Maybe when I get to a real free state or when the Tresmans win, I'll be able to have a 17-round mag and see what a full-size Glock feels like when it's loaded. To capacity, that is. So that's the two options that you have presented to you here in this video. I think they're both good options. I carried both of these for a couple of months now. This one a little bit longer since I've gotten rid of my SIG. But I think that they're both good options. For only $10 more, if you don't have a discount, I would go with this. But if you are an NRA member or you're law enforcement or military, this is about the same price. And I think it's a much better holster. The attention to detail is evident. The Kydex is better formed to the firearm than this is to the SIG. And it's just an all-around better holster. How much better is kind of subjective. But I just think that's a really good, solid holster. Both of them hide excellent t-shirt and jeans. I mean, like I said, I'm 6 foot tall. I'm kind of a scrawny, well, not scrawny, but I'm a very arms and legs type of guy, and I had no issue at all. I'm telling you, these holsters are great. Hybrid holsters are the only holsters that I've ever carried inside the waistband with, so take that for what it is. I'm not going to tell you that your Milt Sparks is a bad holster. I'm not going to tell you don't carry leather. I may try leather eventually, but for now, this is working for me, and I don't see myself making a change. Oh, one quick thing I forgot to say was this completely covers my trigger guard. SHTFgear, total trigger guard coverage. Now, when I had my SIG, only to the trigger was covered with the Galco Kingtuk. It did not cover any of the space behind the trigger. Now, to some people, that's a make or break on a holster, so I'll throw it in there, take it for what it is. If you guys have any questions about either of the holsters or hybrid holsters in general or anything, shoot me a PM or post, say something, and I'll do my best to answer it if I can. And if I can't, I'm sure that someone else on this forum knows what they're talking about. So that's me. Thanks. Support the Tresman lawsuit, New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, and have fun out hunting. Carry everywhere you go, and fuck you, Andrew Cuomo. Thanks.